think publishers are no longer waiting for users to come to their site by leveraging their brand. I think what publishers are now doing is making sure that when people have a chance to interact with content outside of their domain, whether it's using, look what Mashable is doing with Twitter and Facebook, which is tremendous, right? So many people are interacting with their content outside of the Mashable domain, and this is a big asset. Look at BuzzFeed, similar fashion, and many other publishers. And I think the future belongs to the publishers that would own the intent of users when they interact with content, even when it's outside of their domain, because that means that people would come back. And when people come back, if they have high intent and they're engaged, that's going to worth something to publishers. From Taboola perspective, we're very excited to be a part of this ecosystem. We're able to drive millions of users to hundreds of publishers in a way that makes sense to them. We see publishers continuing to participate in our marketplace, getting quality traffic to their domain and increasing their monthly audience all the way to the top on the Comscore table. And just to touch on that, I think that's a big note. I mean, who is a good user? What does it mean? I think that's an area that, at least from our perspective, we're still innovating together with our publishers. I don't think we have all the answers. We look at stuff like pagers per session, time spent on site, repeating fashion. Is that user going to come back organically afterwards after we got that user for the first time, and many other metrics. But I think there's a lot more we're going to learn together with publishers as to who is the audience that needs to come to our site, at what frequency, and what does it say that we look at a user to qualify that user to be a good user. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to revenue and economics. It has to make sense. It has to make sense and it's scale. And the second thing that I think is now becoming a big trend is that brands and agencies also participate in that space, right? So content marketing is all about publishers becoming advertisers, advertisers becoming publishers, and it's all intermingled in a way that just, at the end of the day, it's all about telling a story. And brands now no longer, again, at least we're seeing this growing trend that they have their display business, which is still huge, but they want to try a different way to tell a story. We talked about it here yesterday on the panel, but instead of maybe showing a banner of the product and hope that someone would click on that product and land on a registration page or a purchase page, how about interviewing someone, talking or speaking about that product, and then build a huge and engaged community around that story with the hope at that point that some of those folks would end up driving sales. And we found that to be very successful. In the past 3-6 months, we've been experimenting with this, and we've found it to be very successful. We just had a case study with a big brand that they've measured 1,000 people coming to their site to watch videos through the Taboola network. And they compared this to 1,000 people from other sites. And they saw that the Taboola users tweet 4 times more, and they comment 3 times more than other users. And that's amazing. Now, I don't even know what it means yet in terms of the earned media value, but I know it means that those users have high intent to consume the content, stick around, watch more, and say something about it. And that's sort of the direction we're taking. So we're going to innovate a lot this year in terms of measuring the quality of traffic that can meet your content, and how can you scale that all together. With regards to branded content, I think Jason from MIT Technology Review made a great note yesterday that, you know, it's a tricky field if done right, which means if the branded story is being told in a way that reflects the editorial guideline of the publisher, it can be a great success, right? So MIT Technology Review, he just mentioned this yesterday, that one of the top stories they've ever done was in fact a branded story. And that's really encouraging and exciting, because it means that there's a lot of future in that field, and the potential revenue it can drive back to publishers, which I think it's great. Where I think Taboola can help in that ecosystem is that once the story is blended nicely into a publisher site, and it works like Jason had mentioned, a company like Taboola, we can make sure that a lot of users have a chance to read that story, whether it's from the site itself, so driving users back to that story and give them a chance to interact with that story, or from all around the web. And that, given that the branded content has high revenue attached to it, I think that opens up new opportunities for publishers to increase their monthly uniques and audience.